Hey everybody, it's Eduardo Jackson, the founder, creator, and CEO of the Cinema Draft Game. Welcome. It is Tuesday, January 10th in the new year, 2017, year of our Lord. And I first want to start off with an apology. Of course, it sucks that once again, towards the last minute, we had to cancel games last week. It was not an optimal situation, but I'd rather have canceled the game instead of had a very, very imperfect gaming experience for you all. But we are back this week. We have built in some safeguards so we can make sure the game will run. And we are here to do a talent pool preview of some of the values and interesting pricing that's out there for this week. Some of it is based off of salaries that would have been for last week. And, we can just generally take a look and see what the talent pool is shaping up to look like and what to look out for. I will be coming back at you tomorrow, I believe tomorrow morning-ish, with a full podcast, episode 17, I believe, which we kind of recap the Golden Globes a little bit, and also do the shot list where we go into detail after serious study of the talent pool, what will be the actors you'll need to build the winning call sheet for the Cinema Draft Game. So let's take the 1,000-foot view. This is the spreadsheet I use to basically build the values for the movies. Nice little overview. For those listening at home, sorry you can't see this. You guys really should check out the podcast video on our YouTube channel, which is of course reachable from our landing page at cinedraft.co. That's cinedraft.co. But we have 5 new entrants this week. Well, 6 if you count the one that we couldn't get into our talent pool last week, which would be Underworld Blood Wars. But we have The Bye Bye Man, horror flick, OK Janu, which I believe is an Indian flick, platform Indian flick, Monster Trucks, a trailer which I just saw over the weekend, and it looks insanely stupid. Sleepless, featuring my present town of Las Vegas, Nevada, with a bunch of dirty, corrupt cops, featuring featuring Jamie Foxx. He's the headliner, and T.I., which I would consider the co-headliner, at least from all the trailers. And then also Underworld Blood Wars, starring Kate Beckinsale, this silly vampire Lycan franchise, which seems like it will not die. It seems to be a January staple every second or third year. And then also Live by Night, we're finally adding to the talent pool because it's going wide. It's expanding from 4 screens, which it's been performing kind of low to middling for a while, but at 2,700 screens, I'm sure you've seen the trailers by now. Ben Affleck, I think Prohibition gangster style, whatever. Looks pretty interesting. Looks like he's this is a directorial effort too. He co-wrote the screenplay. I think it's an adaptation from a Dennis Lehane novel. As you may recall, Dennis Lehane was the novelist behind Mystic River, and I want to say, what was it? Not another Affleck movie that he did that was adapted. So Shutter Island, Gone Baby Gone. There you go. That was the one that really brought Affleck into directorial prominence, I believe. So, anyways, so this is a Ben Affleck production, acting and directing. I'm very much looking forward to it. And so he will be, I'm not necessarily pricing it according to my preferences, but I do think it's going to have some interest at the box office because as much as we want to hate on him, Ben Affleck is a movie star. All right, so let's get into the talent pool. I'm going to ignore these people who are trying to IM me while I'm working. Mute that. All right. Now let's see. So we'll start at the top. We usually go from weeks in release, from newest to oldest. Monster Trucks, I have priced down. It's starting at 6,500 up to 6,900 for your headliners. Lucas Till, I think he's the star that MacGyver reboot on TV. Yeah, CBS. Okay, so that's going to be on 2,800 screens. That's a wide release. Okay, Janu. Now, platform is super thin this week, as you can see from our overview, the tab I call the box office report. it's super thin this week in platform. We only really have Jackie out and OK Janu. And of OK Janu, we could only really find 4 actors of note. So, it's pretty much not going to be very optimal for the platform release category this week. And it's not my fault. I mean, I could introduce a couple of 10 or 7 screen releases that we know will definitely fail. But if we're trying to cap this at 20 films, per week, and try to reduce the assault of choice that you have in choosing your actors for your call sheet, then we're limiting it this week to just OK Janu and Jackie, which still has been performing. As a matter of fact, take a look at last weekend's box office. Jackie still pulled in over $1 million. We thought there might have been like a post-Golden Globes bump coming, but seeing how it got shut out of I think pretty much every major award, even I believe Natalie Portman was up for best actress. I don't think it's gonna do anything significantly different. So for the platform release category, we actually have Jackie down here at the same price. Price is unchanged, $7,500, starting at $7,500, going up to $8,400 for Natalie Portman as a headliner. What else we have? So Sleepless. I don't know. This is a tough one to call. I mean, Jamie Foxx. He's kind of a weird box office draw. Like, he hasn't really rolled out a lot of films that you can really look to confidently and say, okay, I want to go see a Jamie Foxx movie. At least not lately. He did Annie, which bombed, and I actually thought Annie was okay. But once again, it's a remake, a reboot of a fairly popular Broadway play, which is made into a hit musical. Broadway musical, which was remade into a hit movie musical. And yeah, this looks interesting. So just looking at Jamie Foxx's IMDb, just trying to get a feel again for what he's been in recently. And yeah, so last one he was an Annie, 2014, Horrible Bosses 2 supporting role, Amazing Spider-Man 2, we know that wasn't about him, supporting role, Rio 2, voice role. Yeah, White House Down, I guess you could say, was the last kind of big Jamie Foxx star. He and Gerard Butler. I mean, Gerard Butler was the lead per se, but Jamie Foxx definitely kicked a lot of ass in that movie. And then so that's 2013. So he's been kind of out. He's been kind of out of it for the last few years. He's so Sleepless will be a test to his box office mettle, and quite honestly, I mean, I don't know. You would think projections aren't out yet on my favorite site, which would be pro.boxoffice.com, where they do their weekly projections. Those usually come out on Wednesday, but I would guess, just based off of the plethora of marketing, it's an action film. It's really only competing against Live by Night for action per se this weekend, I believe. I don't know. I think it could do high teens, low 20 million if it's actually good. I honestly have no idea how to rate this. The trailers look terrible. Looks fairly generic, Cricket Cops type thing or whatever. I do love seeing all these Vegas locations where I know where that is, I know where that is, I know where that is. And it's actually, and hopefully we'll be seeing a wave of these type of movies as far as not crappy Jamie Foxx action flicks, but a wave of movies coming out of Nevada. I believe there was an extension or an enlargement of a film tax credit in the state of Nevada in 2015. So we might start seeing more Nevada-based movies coming out, hopefully boosting the local economy, people tearing up the strip, Jason Bourne style. Okay, so that's Sleepless. The Bye Bye Man. Horror is always a funny type of genre to peg. We have it starting at 8,000 for their actors, going up to only 8,500 for Carrie-Anne Moss as a headliner in The Bye Bye Man. I'm not sure about the appetite for this type of movie. Horror tends to do really well at the box office when there's not a lot of competition, and it tends to do really well in like October, September, October, early November. January is a notorious dumping ground for a lot of Hollywood films that Hollywood doesn't believe in, or well, it's twofold. It's movies that they're trying to get a wider release that they had ran in really small platform release type in December for Oscar consideration. I believe I can't remember what the deadline is, but I'm pretty sure you have to get your movie out in at least 2 or 4 screens before, in like New York and LA typically, for Oscar run consideration, and then they'll widen those out in January. But other than that, as far as like real original programming or new releases, January is a dumping ground. Don't expect to see a lot of like really good stuff or blockbuster stuff till late March, early April, maybe. Let's see, Underworld, Blood Wars. So this is the price that we would have had it debuted last week, and actually it kind of did what we thought it would do. Last weekend it came in fourth, 13.7 million, which is not bad. It only cost 35 million to make. I think this type of movie, or this movie franchise, has had like a long life on DVD and downloads and what have you. So I mean, and to be honest with you, I mean, most of these movies are front loaded. They usually tend to take the bulk of their money in their opening weekend. But I still see probably like a top 6 finish for next weekend for Underworld. So for this upcoming weekend, so that's why it starts at 7,700. Going up to 8,500 for Kate Beckinsale as your headliner. Liam Neeson, Monster Calls did not do well at the box office, in my opinion. It was in limited releases on about 1,500 screens. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Monster Calls, 1,500 screens. Only about 2.1 million. So you're only looking at about 4 fantasy points there. If we're going by 1 fantasy point per 500,000 in limited release. So I would kind of steer clear of that, but we'll get into that in the shot list on the next pod. Also, let's see, Fences. Fences we priced down about 2,000 each, I believe, starting at 7,000, going up to 8,500 for Denzel Washington as your headliner. Still a great movie. Still probably the best movie I may have seen in 2016, but it's starting to slow down. It was 9th in the weekend last weekend. It's at wide release. We're guesstimating it's still going to be fairly wide. What do we have it at? We're guessing about maybe 2,100 screens. So down from 2,368. So a wide release is pretty much starting to run out of steam, and it might not give you the points you really want. I probably could have even downgraded it a little bit further to 6,000, but you never. But maybe it might get like a post Golden Globes bump. I think. Well, actually, no, I don't think it really won anything. Everyone was not. No, I'm sorry, Viola. Oh my goodness, that's my bad. Viola Davis, the goddess. That striking yellow dress from the Golden Globes. She won for Best Supporting Actress, so maybe it might get a small bump. Yeah, and it was an amazing performance. I mean, I haven't seen Manchester by the Sea. Granted, I've heard nothing but good news about Casey Affleck's performance. I'm gonna try to see if I can see it this week, but Casey Affleck is. I mean, I'm gonna have to see something. Like because I don't know how it gets much better than Denzel in Fences as Troy Max, and I just don't. But we'll see. Hidden Figures. Oh, this hurts my heart. This hurts my heart. He's Hidden Figures, because if y'all remember the Just the Shot List podcast we had last week, it's what I did instead of having a topic based podcast last week. We just focused on the shot list, and I filled out a call sheet with y'all, and that was my strategy. I did a max stack of Hidden Figures. I just had a feeling. I actually didn't know if it was going to top RogueOne and Sing, but I knew that it was going to perform strongly. I mean, the marketing's everywhere. It's got nothing but good buzz. And it's a crowd pleaser. What can I tell you? It is truly a crowd pleaser. I went and saw it on Saturday matinee. Actually, no, it wasn't even matinee. I paid full price, and very glad I did it. It was amazing. I nearly cried at one point. People who know me, who've seen the movie, let me know what part you thought I might have cried at. I might have almost cried at, but I was fighting them tears, boy. Oh, don't you, Eduardo, don't you cry, Eduardo. Don't do it, because it's just, it does the impossible. Everybody, it threads the needle between shining light on American racism, on female empowerment, and also on elevating mathematics and the space program, and looking at a time in our in history, you basically doing a historical retelling of a story that not very many people knew or heard of. Like, I'd never heard of Katherine Johnson before I started seeing the marketing for Hidden Figures, and then when they had the whole Timeless episode and everything. I mean, it's just, I mean, and it was a really good time at the movies. It really was. It was a full, well-rounded 4-quadrant entertainment. I think, and so now we've priced it up appropriately. We've bumped it up by, I believe, another 2,000 each, 3,000 each. So it's going to cost you to get Hidden Figures back in. Word's out on this movie, man. I mean, 73 meta score. It's kind of low, but actually, I believe it's 7.9 rating on IMDb. I believe it's Rotten Tomatoes score. Do they have that on this page? I guess they don't have it on this page. Anyways, it's Rotten Tomatoes score is off the charts. Generally, it's usually pretty. I thought I saw it was like 90 something percent. I'm gonna look it up real quick for you all while I am thinking about it, because I'm curious. The Hidden Figures. And the Rotten Tomatoes score for Hidden Figures was like 93% on the tomato meter and a 94% audience score. That's pretty big. So yeah, people love it. I mean, it just it touches all of the right spots. And I think it's going to do well again this second weekend. If I had to guess, if it made 22 million last weekend, I guess the drop off might only be about 5 or 6 million, to be honest with you. I think it could still do 16, 17 million this weekend, which probably should put it in the top 5 again for this upcoming weekend. Let's see what else we have in the talent pool. Live by Night. Oh man, I might have priced this up too high, but I mean, it's a movie I really want to see. It's got a lot of press behind it. People are wise to Affleck as a director, even when he's directing himself. So I started at 11,000, going up to 12.8 for Ben Affleck. Zoe Saldana is also in it, looking gorgeous, stunning. Zoe 11.7 as the other headliner. Passengers, we dropped by, I believe, $2,000 each, starting at 7,000, going up to 8,700. Jennifer Lawrence. It's still doing some business, but it's starting to run out of steam. It was only 6th at the box office last weekend with 8.8 million. I suspect it's going to drop down to about 5 million next weekend, and I believe its screens are going to drop too. We're guesstimating about 2,700 in wide release. Got to make room for somebody. Got to make room for Live by Night. Got to make room for. They'll probably add some more screens to Hidden Figures. Quite honestly, I probably should have changed this from 2,471 to like 2,500 for Hidden Figures. Passenger, and also Patriots Day. This one also is going wide. Jay Devlin's favorite, family friend of the podcast, Jay Devlin. Draft Mom's favorite, Jay Devlin. Your favorite, Jay Devlin. He was big on Patriots Day. So Jay Devlin, put up or shut up. This is where it goes wide for you, buddy. This is where you can really double, triple down on your love of Mark Wahlberg and my love of Peter Berg. I think I do not question Peter Berg after Deepwater Horizon, and being just shocked at how touching and poignant and just all around good Deepwater Horizon was, taking a fairly recent retelling of not even of a man-made disaster event, and telling it in a way which was both somewhat educational, heartfelt, moving, and dare I say, entertaining. Out of a tragedy. I think he can do the same out of Patriots Day. I have utmost faith in Peter Berg, the director of Patriots Day. He also did Lone Survivor. I mean, this is what he does. He did Friday Night Lights. I mean, this is what he does. He takes true real life events, dramatizes them in a very good, entertaining way. Silence goes wide or wider this week. It's pretty much what you're going to be looking out for in limited. 750 screens, starting at 8,200, going up to 8,700 for Andrew Garfield. Sing, we reduced down to 13,000, going up to 14,000 for Matthew McConaughey. I believe that's correct. Let's see what else we got. Why him? I saw that. I was having a bad day. I had a bad day on Thursday. We had to cancel games. I was pissed. Needed to get out the house, and so I wanted to go see a movie. Wanted to get out of my head, and I wanted to see something that was going to make me laugh. I went to see Why Him, and it was just a trick. That movie is freaking hilarious. No wonder it's still in the top 10, 6.9 million. I believe I kept it unchanged this week. Yeah, I kept it unchanged. I think that movie has a little bit of legs. I know I told mom to go see it. It's a little raunchy, but Draft Mom, she ain't scared of no raunch. She's fine with it. Surprisingly, surprisingly affordable little comedy. They're only for 38 million estimated budget, and it's already made 48 million, almost 49 million. So go get your money, YM. It actually probably could go down 1,000 or two in price, but this is what we locked it in at for now. 9,000, starting at 9,000, going up to 10,000 for Bryan Cranston, 9,800 for James Franco as your headliners for that all important 40% headliner bonus. So there might still be some money in it. If it makes a dramatic drop, which let's see, what did it do per screen? Per screen average for those newer to the game is a fairly telling figure, especially on wide releases. You can kind of give you an indication of what a movie's going to do, and continue with. Per screen average for YHIM was only 2,300, so we might actually see a bigger drop in YHIM because you're going to need to make room for some of these other wide releases. We have three movies, I believe, going pretty wide this weekend, or expanding wider this weekend. So Silence is gobbling up more screens. Patriots Day is going to 2,900 screens. Live by Night, 2,700 screens. And then you've got three wide releases opening. The Bye Bye Man, Monster Trucks, and Sleepless. So someone's got to give. And if I'm a movie theater operator and I've got limited space, I'm probably, cutting Why Him. So Why Him actually, I would be surprised to see Why Him drop down to limited, like 1,900 screens, just under the wide release threshold, which actually, if it does drop to limited, Why Him would probably be, a decent value. Not the best value at this price, but it might be a decent value. I might have pegged this wrong. It's probably going to do a bigger drop in the limited. Now I think about it, because when you think about it, I believe there's only about 42 to 45,000 ish screens out there in North American marketplace, which is what we track. So someone's got to give, and it might just be why him. RogueOne takes the biggest tumble this week. We dropped at $7,000. Now we see RogueOne's been weakened. It is not the #1 box office movie. It will not be the #1 box office movie from here on out, most likely. Sing almost hawked it down. Hidden Figures definitely beat it by about 700, 800,000. So now it's going to be start priced more accordingly. It is dropped down to 12,000. I think it's still going to be a top 3 or 4 movie this weekend. So it is at 12,000 starting and going up to 14,000 for Felicity Jones as your headliner, 13.7 for Diego Luna as your headliner. Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling. I can't say enough about La La Land. Probably the best time you'll have at the movies, even if it's not the best movie at the movies. It's definitely going to get a Golden Globes bounce. I think it won like 7 awards or something crazy like that. I can't. In this category, the way the Golden Globes does it too, they separate drama from comedy, which I think is just smart. It's kind of hard comparing, apples to oranges sometimes, and it's hard to emotional transference between the two different categories when you're trying to pick like what's a best picture. So I like how they have that separation in Golden Globes. And yeah, for its category, it's gonna win for best comedy or musical. It's just gonna do it. You're gonna have a great time with that movie. I enjoyed it, truly recommend it. And it may be like my third date movie, from here on out. That might be a litmus test. Does this woman like La La Land? If she likes La La Land, believes in everything in this movie, and believes in the arts and falling in love, I can rock with her. Anyways, we kept that unchanged. It's at 11,500. I'm guessing it's going to expand its screens. I was a little conservative. I only guessed about 1,550. It might go up, maybe to 1,700 screens, maybe. But I'm predicting it's going to stay in the limited category and limited release type category. If it's going to stay in the limited release type, then it's pretty much all you're going to want. So it's priced accordingly. It's priced up 11,500 starting, ending up with 12,300 for Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. as your headliners. Jackie's unchanged, 7,500 to 8,400, as we mentioned that earlier. Lion got a little bit of shine, a little bit of love, might get a little bit of a post Golden Globes bounce. I'm adding 25 screens to it, my guesstimate. And that price is unchanged, 5,600 starting, ending up at 6,400 for Dev Patel as your headliner. Moana, I believe we dropped by a couple thousand. Moana, I need to go see Moana. It's got legs, man. It's going to its 7th week, maybe 7th weekend, 8th weekend. 6.3 million. This is another candidate that's probably going to drop into the limited release category. And so I've got it right on the borderline at 2,000 for wide, because shedding about 21% of screens for a movie that's still, well, it's doing about 2,500 per screen. So this also is another limited release category candidate. We'll have to see how that shakes out. Right now in my model, I have it at just barely wide release and priced accordingly for that release type. And the last movie of the week, Manchester by the Sea, I believe its price is unchanged, starting at 7,000 and going up to 7,600 for Golden Globe Best Actor winning Casey Affleck, who at least, I haven't seen Manchester by the Sea. I hear all the great kudos about it. I am salty and partial for my man Denzel, but I will give this up for Casey Affleck. At least he had the common sense to at least shout out Denzel from the podium. I think he quoted him in his acceptance speech, whatever. And you know what? I mean, that was a classy move. I can appreciate that as a Denzel diehard. So I need to check this movie out this week and report back to you guys on it, because I need to know more. Movies that we ended up dropping from previous weeks included Assassin's Creed, which I also saw, paid money for. It's a glorious mess. Doesn't make a lick of sense, but if you can see it in D-Box with like the moving seats, I'd highly recommend it, because all that parkour and stuff, I mean, it's pretty exciting action flick, but as far as plot wise, does not make a damn bit of sense. So we dropped Assassin's Creed, we dropped Julieta, we dropped a few other movies that are probably still in the marketplace but aren't going to perform for the purpose of our game. Oh yeah, Fantastic Beasts. I mean, it's kind of had to go. 1,100 screens. I mean, it's made its money. 1,600 per screen average. It's done. We dropped Collateral Beauty. $921 per screen. Yeah, that movie's done. This is probably of the bombs in Will Smith's career, this one was pretty much up there as far as the way it was marketed. It had the unenviable task of going up against RogueOne its opening weekend. It only made about 30 million, but on the light side, it only cost 36 million. I mean, it looked like they're really. This is a really interesting test case of marketing as far as like what happens when you try to elevate, albeit a well-cast movie. This is one of these tweener films which Hollywood has a hard time making anymore because they don't really know how to promote them well. And when I say by tweener, I mean it's not cheap enough to be an indie, and it's not expensive enough to be a big budget film. And so it falls in this weird gray area. These are the type of movies you see between, say, I don't know, 15, 20 million and like, 60 million that Hollywood really doesn't know what to do with. And so they really tried to, this is what happens when, for lack of a better analogy, when a guy who's a 2 shoots his shot with a perfect 10, and the results aren't enviable. So Will Smith, nice try. And he's probably making, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. I probably will see it on video or DVD or something. Blu-ray, actually, if I even do that anymore. I'm really much a digital download guy these days. And this is what happens when a 2 shoots a shot with a 10 and totally misses, and totally airballs. You shot your shot, Will Smith, but sorry to work out with you for Collateral Beauty. I've heard wildly disparate and disparaging reviews about this movie, so I'm a little curious, but we had to drop it from our game. And Office Christmas Party, it's had to go. Somebody got to go. It's made its money. Looks like on paper a slight profit, although as I mentioned before, I mean, to be honest with you, studios really only recoup about, what is it, 55% of total gross. So this movie is going to have, so at 54 million gross for Office Christmas Party it's gonna have to make it's gonna have to make up its budget, and it's marketing. It's what they call the P&A budget, prints and advertising. It's marketing budget back on home video and airline sales and stuff like that. So that is it for your talent pool preview. Hope you enjoyed it. Not sure how long this ran, but I guess it may not be a micro pod, it's a medium pod, but the game is up in the lobby for you, fully filled out. And also we did some tweaking to our system to hopefully make it a little bit better for you. This is like my dummy call sheet, and we basically are going off of release schedule estimates. So as you see 2,000 screens, this is what should match up in the future with the Box Office Mojo release schedule screen. So you see 2,000 for Sleepless, and so if you go to say Live by Night, which currently is only on 4 screens, it should show up in the system now. Live by Night. It should show up in the system now what we anticipate it'll be, which is a wide release of 2,700 screens, the same as expanding right here. So this is so hopefully this release sticks. We've been really working hard to make the game better for you. I know there have been a lot of issues on the player side with release types changing after call sheet lock. So hopefully this small but pivotal addition to or change in the way system works will be a lot more helpful for you. You can pick out your call sheets with a lot more confidence before the 6 p.m. Thursday Pacific time, theater lock time, and hopefully it will be a better game for you. So sorry about that, about last week, but we are back. We're here to stay. No more missed weeks, no days off. We're gonna rock this out in 2017. We're going to increase the excitement, the features of the game, as we move along, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about Cinema Draft. Follow us on all our social media. Go to our landing page at cinemadraft.co. Sign up if you haven't already. Tell your friends to sign up. And I appreciate your support. Let's have a great year. And I look forward to seeing all of your call sheets.